Good morning. I am Letitia, and I want to just share with you this morning a little about Venus in the sign of Gemini. So Venus, of course, represents how we love, what we desire, what we feel we deserve to have in this life. And when we have Venus in the sign of Gemini, of course, being an air sign, Gemini is a mutable sign, meaning that it is changeable. It is easy for it to have a new experience, easy for it to adapt. So like with the fixed signs, like for instance with Taurus being a fixed sign, it's difficult for Taurus energy to want to make changes. But in the sign of Gemini, it's easy for Gemini energy, or those with a lot of Gemini energy, to adapt and make changes, and it's okay. They don't go through a whole lot of struggle when it is a change. And then Gemini, of course, is signified by the twins, or these two separate individuals. And so with Gemini, we see this type of restlessness that is there. Being an air sign is very much of the mind and in the mind, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So with that, with Venus coming into the sign of Gemini, here is this very diplomatic sign, very tender loving sign, being affected by this air with these kind of dual personality traits about it. So when we have Venus here, we have an individual who needs to have mental stimulation going on all the time. When we're talking about love, we're talking about a relationship, we're talking about being able to, if you are wanting to date someone who has Venus in Gemini, this person, you have to keep their mind. They will get bored very easily. They need to talk about different topics and experience different things. And so with Venus and Gemini, they are known for being unfaithful. And one of the reasons is because they get bored. They're with the same person, talking about the same thing all the time, having sex the same way. There's a boredom that can come in. Also, because Gemini is, this very mercurial energy, with Venus here, a lot of times the person doesn't have to have a whole lot of sex. Now, it depends on what sign Mars is in, and the moon too. That is going to impact what we see sexually from this person, but they don't have to have a whole lot of sex. Typically, they can be stimulated through the mind very easily. Just like sexting or talking about sex on the phone can bring them a whole lot of satisfaction. Just having the visual, because this is a very mental sign of Gemini. Just having the visuals a lot of times can bring them this type of huge satisfaction. So that is something to consider. Now, again, the whole thing of the faithfulness, it depends on a lot of the other aspects too. If there's a lot of Gemini or a lot of air energy in the chart, then definitely this is a person who can easily get bored and be doing some other things and stepping out. But if you have Saturn there, Saturn maybe with Venus, it can mitigate a lot of that changeability and desire to have extra partners. And if you have a lot of Taurus planets around it, additional Taurus moon or a Taurus sun or something like this, those placements can mitigate some of that desire to change partners. So you have to look at the whole chart, when trying to determine what you're looking at in your partner or even within yourself. So that's all I have for you today. I love you, and I will talk to you later.